Thriller came out in late 82, and this is the copy that my father bought in late 1983. And back then, he would always get an album, and then he would make a cassette of the songs he liked or of the whole thing and put it aside. So this has barely been played. And we'll do the audio test, and then I'll come back and tell you a little bit about the anomalies about this. What you're going to want to do, by the way, depending on if you're watching on a mobile device, if you're able to, get your headphones out, because this is going to be fun, where if you've got headphones on, you can really tell the differences that I'm going to try and highlight. So this is the vinyl, obviously. This is the inner sleeve and the disc. Well, you all know what a record looks like. There is the label for this happy little fellow. And on here, on the front, they've got what's called a hype sticker, which would tell you the songs that were on it and everything. And at the bottom, it says real small, also available on cassette. Well, I'm not going to use the cassette. I'm going to use the reel-to-reel tape. And probably most people don't even know that this album came out on reel-to-reel tape. Columbia Records, their biggest selling albums, or ones they thought were going to be big sellers, they released them on reel-to-reel tape until 1984. The last one that there's a record of that anyone can tell that was released on reel tape is Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen. And that came out in the summer of 84. After that, I think there's one more, from Placido Domingo or something, reel tape that came out. And then that was the end of the line for them. There was a small company called Barclay Crocker that continued releasing reel tapes, but they were all classical. So for popular music, this, coming out in late 82, was one of the last ones. I've seen the Police Synchronicity, which came out in 83. I think Lionel Richie Can't Slow Down, I've seen. Duran Duran. But the last one was Born in the USA. And these, as you can see, this is what a reel of tape looks like. There's not a whole lot of tape on here because they use the slowest speed, and that a lot of people feel compromised the sound quality. But you could get these not in the stores. You could get them in the store in the 60s and 70s of other albums. But by this point, early 80s, the only way to get these was through the Columbia House Record Club, which was extant for many years. They were the famous ones, 10 albums for a penny that you would send in and everything. And you could select on there what format you wanted, whether you wanted vinyl, cassette, 8-track tapes you could even get until the late 80s, or reel-to-reel tape. So as you can see, they pretty faithfully, I mean, it's tough not to, recreate the album cover. There you go. Mine, of course, has the hype stickers I was talking about. So you've got the album cover on the front. On the back, this is what the back of Thriller looks like, supposed to look like. And if you buy a CD, it'll look like that. The cassette tape has an approximation of this. On the reel tape, these were, because it was so labor-intensive and expensive to make these, they went bargain basement. So this is all you got. The title, not even in script, and then just the songs. I don't even think it has songwriting credits. It doesn't. It's got a few of the special thanks people listed, like the members of Toto, because they played pretty much on every track on here. It's got the copyright, and it's got the little Quincy Jones and Epic Records logos, and that's it. The side, similarly bare bones. You just got the title, the track and speed information, so you know what speed to play it at. And then I'm trying to see here if this label... Yeah, this label doesn't say much either. This one gives a shout-out to Eddie Van Halen and Paul McCartney, who were guests, but that's it. So there's no liner notes, no lyrics, anything. As you can see inside, completely empty. The vinyl, though, if you bought it, you got these drawings, you got the lyrics, all of that good stuff. So that's in the packaging. Already you can tell that this one's got one arm tied behind its back. And for the sound quality, we're going to judge. So right now, we'll play a few sound samples, and I can only do, a few seconds of each one before the copyright police come after me. But for fair use, I'm going to use a few seconds, and I will play the same piece of music once from the vinyl, once from the reel. And I'm not going to tell you which one's first, which one's second. I'll tell you after this part of the video. So crank up your headphones, listen good, and see which one you prefer. You can, write down A and B if you want. And then afterwards, I'll tell you exactly what you were listening to and why it might have sounded like that.
stenches in the air. The foulest stenches in the air.
So hopefully you were able to get some headphones on and listen and figure out what you like best in that A-B test. If you wrote down for your answers that the one that you preferred was A-B-B-A, ABBA, the Swedish group, I figured that would make it easy. If you wrote down ABBA for the ones that you preferred, then you preferred the sound of the vinyl, which I would have to say that I do as well. If you didn't, if you put B-A-A-B or some other variation, then at some points you preferred the sound of the reel-to-reel tape. Little anomalies I just thought I'd point out on this particular copy of Thriller that my father bought is you can see here that Kmart, this is where he bought it, for $6.44. The other cool thing is this has got a Grammy Nominee sticker, so that means my father probably bought this in late 1983 after the nominations came out, but before it won 8 Grammys in early '84, so they only had this sticker out for about six to 8 weeks. The other weird thing about this copy is, and I don't know how this happened, I mean I know how it happened, I don't know why it happened. When I was learning to write my name in first grade in Mrs. Klein's class, or maybe it was kindergarten in Mrs. Luce's class, I don't know. That was years after we had bought this album, but for some reason I pulled this out and I practiced writing my name right here and wrote it on there. I have no idea why I picked this. I wasn't a huge fan of the album back then, and my father's records were off limits and they were in the family room, so I don't know when I would have gone in and been able to sneak this album out and write my name on it and put it back. And again, why I chose this one, I have no idea.